ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to share with you something that isn't book related, but first I am going to share with you something about myself as a reader. The past couple of months have been kind of trying emotionally. I've been pretty bummed out the last couple of months due to various things, and one of the main sources of my sadness is this overthinking and dwelling on things to an unhealthy degree. So I haven't really been reading that much because when I sit down and read, my mind begins to wander and think about the things that are making me sad or making me dwell on things and stress out about things that I can't change. I have two ways of dealing with this. I either get involved in creative projects, even if they're small, or I watch a lot of television, and I've done a little bit of both this summer, so I'm going to share with you some of the new television shows that I have experienced this summer while dealing with my little bout of sadness. First television show that I discovered this summer was when I was dog sitting for one of my friends and they had Netflix. So when I had access to Netflix, I watched Bob's Burgers for the first time and ended up watching like pretty much almost the entire first season during that 2 or 3 days that I was dog sitting, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like I said, it's an animated television show and it's about this quirky, eccentric family that owns this small, kind of down and out burger joint. You got the dad named Bob, who's kind of the straight-laced guy or straight man of the family, even though he's pretty kooky too. Then his wife Linda, who, like I said, again, very eccentric, and she sings and dances, and she's very honest in the most charming way. And then they have the 3 children. The oldest is Tina, who's about 12 or 13, who is super boy crazy, but also super awkward. But it's totally lovely. And then we have their middle child, who is Gene. He's kind of an idiot, but he's kind of brilliant at the same time, and he's also interested in making music. Then we have the youngest child, who is Louise, who is this high-energy, devious, perhaps even the smartest of the family. But while she has this devious side, she has a great big heart, just like the rest of her family. And that's probably the best thing about the show, is it's hilarious, but also it's just it's a lot of heart. Like, this family gets into a lot of shenanigans, but they're always there for each other, and I absolutely adore it. So I highly recommend that if you can get your hands on it. I think it's still on Netflix. Definitely check it out. I've watched all that's currently available, and I think it recently won an Emmy that I think it totally deserves. The next show that I'm going to mention, I'm only going to touch on briefly because I'm sure you've heard of it, but it is Game of Thrones. I absolutely adore the show. It is a high fantasy drama show that comes on HBO. It's based on the Song of Ice and Fire series. It's well written, visually appealing, and has great actors. If you aren't watching the show and you're not offended by violence or sexuality, I would highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly. The next show that I'm going to mention is Wilfred. This show was originally an Australian project that got adapted to an American television show. It is about this man named Ryan who at the very beginning of the series attempts to commit suicide. It's unsuccessful, but when he wakes up, he sees his neighbor's dog as a man in a dog suit. So the whole show is pretty much this man in the dog suit, who is the dog named Wilfred, and Ryan's relationship. It deals with mental illness, and there is a significant amount of marijuana use in this show. So if you're uncomfortable with that, probably shouldn't watch it, but it has this great dark humor in it. And also, again, I think it has a lot of heart. It's really quirky, and I think it's an acquired taste, but I think it's worth a shot if any of those things sound interesting to you. I absolutely adored it, and I watched the first 3 seasons in like no time, and then caught up with the 4th season, and the 4th season just recently ended, so you can marathon the whole thing whenever you want. And the last full television show that I'm going to mention is The Crazy Ones. One of the things that contributed to my overall sadness was the suicide of Robin Williams, and I didn't realize how important he was to my life until his passing, and I kind of became obsessed in an unhealthy way that I was literally upset and depressed. I had to hold back from watching and consuming all of his media because it kind of made it worse, except for the exception of this television show. It's about a father and daughter who run an advertising agency. The father is naturally played by Robin Williams, and the daughter is played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. This is by no means a perfect television show. It's on CBS, and I have very strong opinions about CBS's writing. I just don't particularly like it, and I feel like the show obviously suffered from that. But it was a very charming show, and I'll admit, Robin Williams' performance was just basically him being himself, but I still really loved it and got pretty invested in the characters, so I would recommend watching it. And that's all that I'm going to talk to you about today. I will do a part 2 of this, talking about the movies that have warmed my heart this summer. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please feel free to share your thoughts on anything that I said here today down in the comments below. I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!